You know that feeling, right? You're so close to a big win, a real achievement, and then you feel it. Someone, maybe a friend, a coworker, trying to subtly pull you back. It's frustrating, and I'm here to tell you it is not just in your head. This is a real, powerful, and destructive pattern. So today, we're going to break it all down, from the mind of the individual doing the pulling to the systems that actually encourage this stuff in the first place.
In this phrase right here, if I can't have it, neither can you. This is the toxic little mantra at the very heart of what we're talking about. It's this declaration that life is a zero-sum game, the belief that if you win, I must lose. It's the quiet thought that fuels all those tiny acts of sabotage. And it all starts with a really powerful metaphor. And here it is, crab mentality. The idea is so simple, but man, is it devastating. Picture a bucket of crabs. Any single crab, it could climb right out, no problem. But when you get a whole group in there, the second one gets near the top, the others literally pull it back down. The result? Nobody escapes. The whole group guarantees its own failure. And of course, this isn't really about crabs. It's about us. It's about how groups can, sometimes consciously or not, just conspire to keep everyone stuck at the exact same level.
So, that's the what. But why? Why do people actually do this? To really get that, we've got to look inside the mind of the person who's doing the pulling. What on earth is driving this impulse? Well, the root causes aren't about strength at all. They're about weakness. This behavior almost always comes from low self-esteem, from a deep, nagging sense of inadequacy. See, when someone doesn't feel good about themselves, watching you succeed can feel like a personal attack, and that's where the envy and resentment start to bubble up. It's all fueled by these mental errors like thinking you deserve more than you have, and one particularly damaging bias we really need to dig into, the zero-sum bias.
The zero-sum bias is basically the belief that life is a fixed pie. You know, if you get a bigger slice, my slice has to be smaller. But that's just a fundamental misunderstanding of how success actually works most of the time. Things like opportunity, great ideas, achievement, they aren't finite. But if you're trapped in that mindset, you don't see a rising friend as an inspiration. You see them as a competitor who is literally taking something away from you.
And this table just lays out the cost perfectly. It is a total lose-lose situation. The person pulling others down, they're just trapped in this miserable cycle of envy and bitterness that stunts their own growth. Sure, they might get a quick, fake little boost to their ego, but it never, ever lasts. And the target? They're left with anxiety, self-doubt, and their progress gets stalled. In the end, nobody wins. The puller stays stuck in their negativity, and the target gets held back. The entire bucket stays right where it is.
But, sometimes this behavior goes way beyond simple envy. Sometimes it becomes something much more complex, a really dark, psychological game where the goal isn't just to stop you, it's to make you feel the exact same pain that they're feeling inside. Okay, this is a heavy one. It's called projective identification. It's a defense mechanism where someone takes their own feelings that they just can't accept, like deep-seated rage or shame or just pure chaos, and they project them onto you. But here's the kicker. They don't stop there. They then poke and prod and manipulate you until you actually start to feel and act out those very emotions. They essentially make you a container for their own inner turmoil.
So let's break down how this actually works, step by step. First, the person has a feeling they just can't deal with. Let's say it's rage. Second, they provoke you. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's not, but they needle you until you finally crack. Third, you react. You get angry, you lash out, and just like that, you are now embodying the rage that they couldn't express. And fourth, they feel this sense of relief. They can point the finger and say, see, you're the angry one, not me, all while getting this sixth sense of control.
And this quote, wow, it just nails it. A truly sane person, someone with genuine compassion, would never make it their life's mission to hurt somebody else. But someone who is deeply, deeply hurting, you could even say insane in this context, they just don't have that compassion. Their own inner chaos is so loud that seeing someone else who's happy or at peace is irritating. So to get relief, they have to project that chaos outward. They hunt for a human mirror to reflect their own brokenness back at them.
Now, it is so easy to just blame the individuals, right? To just label them as toxic or narcissistic and be done with it. But what if the problem isn't just the crabs? What if the real problem is the bucket itself? Let's zoom out and look at how this behavior isn't just about one person, but about the entire system they're swimming in. Think about it. The environment we live in, that can be the bucket that conditions this behavior. When you have a culture that's hyper-competitive, that rewards a lack of empathy, that's constantly screaming at us that we're in a zero-sum game, well, it's actually breeding crabs. It's creating the perfect conditions for this mentality to just flourish.
The philosopher Erich Fromm had a name for this. He called it the pathology of normalcy. And it is a chilling idea. It's the concept that a society can be so fundamentally sick, so counterproductive to human well-being, that the people who are perfectly adjusted to it are actually the most unwell. Their lack of feeling, their ruthless drive to compete, it's not seen as a flaw. It's praised as normal. It's just what it takes to get ahead.
So how does a sick society get everyone to play along? Well, one of the most powerful tools is internalized oppression. This is what happens when people in a group start to actually believe the negative competitive stereotypes about themselves and each other. They become the agents of their own oppression. They become the other crabs in the bucket, policing each other to stay in line with the rules of a system that doesn't actually help any of them.
Okay, so let's connect these two big ideas, because this is where it all clicks. The pathology of normalcy, that's the sick society. That's the bucket. Internalized oppression is what happens inside the bucket. The individuals adopt the system's toxic values and start enforcing them on each other. And that is how you get people supporting the very system they hate by hating on each other. They become the crabs, doing the system's dirty work for it, making sure nobody ever escapes.
So we've gone from a simple crab in a bucket to the complex mind of a narcissist, all the way up to the very structure of our society. How do we put all this together and maybe, just maybe, figure out a path out?
Here's the whole story from top to bottom. The symptom we see on the surface is crab mentality. At the individual level, it's driven by deep insecurity and envy. The nastiest tool it uses is projective identification, where a disturbed person basically makes you a mirror for their own pain. And this whole mess is held in place by a system, a pathology of normalcy that actually rewards this lack of empathy and keeps everyone trapped inside.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. It's easy to spot the individual crabs, the people who try to pull others down. The real challenge is to see the bucket itself, to start questioning the systems we live in, at work, in our communities, in our culture, the ones that tell us that success is a zero-sum game and that pulling each other down is just normal. What toxic buckets have we all learned to just accept as reality?